Yeah, we're good. Hey everyone. My guest today is wrestler, comedian, spiritual advisor. I don't know. I know that the end of it gets kind of
Would that would that
cor-
be, would that be a way that you would describe me as a spiritual advisor in some way?
is that I know with your podcast Cory Castle, everyone. Cory Castle. I know I was watching some of the episodes of your podcast evolving and it seemed very spiritual, uplifting, positive.
Okay, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate your support, man. I appreciate you checking it out. I if that's what reads, man, that feeds my soul. That really feeds my soul. If that's what reads, I'll feel like I'm accomplished in any way. If I've helped guide anyone to a perspective that maybe is different from the one they already truly have their heels sunk into, and go, oh, you know what? Maybe I can afford to be a little more open minded about some stuff. Then I'll feel like I lived a quality life.
Yeah, no, I'm kind of jealous of a person like yourself because I've already lost all hope for man and all humankind. So it's nice to see. I don't think of it as like oh, that person's silly that they think there's a chance this world has a we could love each other and this and that. Like I actually find it very like positive that people like you are still out there, you know what I mean?
Well, there are people like me who have been hurt by cold hearted folks, and sure, it's all part of it. It's all just
Hmm.
as much a part of it. So it's like I people like me wouldn't exist hadn't had been not been for people who suck. So you gotta mind the gold, dude.
There's a balance in it,
Yeah.
in all of it. Yeah. But then I always go off the idea that I'll live longer if I have grudges to hold. You know what I mean? Have you ever heard
Like,
that saying?
I, I get the idea behind it. I mean, I, I I don't think it really carries any real weight, but it's definitely like the idea behind it. Like when my grandmother was in her like last days and she was dying, I would always go when I'd leave. I'd be like, "See you later," not like bye, because if I said "see you later," she had to live for me to see her next time. It's almost a similar. If I have these grudges, I'll have to hold on to them. There has to be somebody there for me to be mad at. But also, what if that person's not there anymore for you to be mad at? What if you
Yeah.
hold a grudge against a person and then everybody you held grudges against just dies? And then you're like, well, I got no grudges to hold it against anybody anymore. I guess I'll just be bitter.
And here's the difference between you and I. Just one quick difference. Your grandmother. I found my grandmother dead in her bed when I was a child. So like it's not that I'm like trying to kill, like be a buzzkill, but I'm just saying there's like a little bit of a difference of like, oh, okay, yeah, he's a little messed up and off. No, but I appreciate the balance that you give to the universe of me being nihilistic and you I don't know, like
There,
I don't know if you
there,
call it.
there are absolute moments, man. I have to say, there's moments where I'm nihilistic as hell. Like
Mhm,
I'm very much like, there's no point to anything. Everything sucks. Like I get
mhm,
like that.
mhm.
Oh, things went wrong. Oh yeah, go figure. Why was I getting so cocky to think that they were going to continue to go right? I get those rut moments too. I just I just have to think about the type of person who I'd look at if I wasn't me looking at what I was going through, going like, uh, oh, I'd be curious to see how they'd get through it. I'd be curious to see how I'd get through it if I wasn't me seeing it. So I
Hmm.
would look at it in a way where it's like I have to inspire. I have to inspire a future version of myself, or or somebody who's watching me closely, because you never know how closely somebody's watching you.
Yeah, of course. Someone's always going through something as equally bad as you are, if not worse, if not a little bit better. So there's like, people are watching. Yeah, I get what you're saying. You're an example that's a positive example, like
I hope
to the next person to give them the strength, and then that keeps the chain going because whoever's watching them gets that strength too. So no, I can commend that. I just want to say I'm not an example of that. So
I mean, you can be.
yeah.
You you're not limited to the point where you can go, "Oh, I'm not an example, and I'll never be an example of that," because you, e- everything can change.
Hmm.
Everything and anything can change at any given moment.
Hmm. No,
So,
absolutely. So I see you've actually wrestled. Like I saw a match on your YouTube page, and like you've legit been in a ring and done it. Like
oh
that's,
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's pretty hardcore. Like,
Thanks, man.
it kind of reminds me of like a skateboarder where, oh, I was just in my backyard like trying on the grass, and then you're playing it, you see it on TV at the X Games, and you're like, oh shit, they're doing the real thing. It's kind of like you were actually out there like taking bumps, doing a match and all that. How
Yeah.
long has your wrestling career been going?
My entire life. No, I'd say I started training to be a wrestler in 1998. I was 14 years old when I started trying to be a professional wrestler. So I'm 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 a few months away from turning 40 right now. I'm 39, and yeah, it's somehow it's really kept me young, and it's kept me excited, and it's kept me uh feeling so blessed all the time. I mean, I understand. I understand it hasn't been like monetarily very rewarding, but as far as like me me learning all the values and my like core beliefs on who to be, and how to like kind of like carry yourself like you belong.
Mhm,
That's all. A lot of the really important things I learned about uh, being a role model, being a man, probably came from being a professional wrestler and being around men who were role models and showing me an example. So I thought it'd be important for me to continue to be an example like they were to me.
and were you, like, kinda self-trained, or did
Oh
you
no.
go to, like, a school? Like
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I got trained. I got trained by John Dahmer and Eddie Valentine at the CZW Combat Zone Wrestling Academy
mhm.
in in 2001, something like that.
Ooh, that was a
So
while
yes,
back.
very long. Yes, it was very long time ago.
Yeah, those were different times. I
Very
feel
indeed.
like
Yeah.
well,
Wow.
because I graduated in 2005, so
Okay.
I'm around your age more or less. Maybe you're a
Hmm.
few years, senior me. But I know, like, back then, shoot, we didn't have like today with all the energy drinks, the proteins, the access to the internet, so you knew what to eat and what to do. Like, how did you know, like, back then, like, to stay in shape?
I didn't. I didn't. I wasn't in shape. I wasn't
Uh-huh.
in shape at all. I mean, I was a kid, so I was like in skinny kid shape, which
Oh.
happens automatically when you're a skinny kid working out in a gym 4 days a week, or working out in a ring 4 days a week. so it was just a matter of like, wrestling was my exercise, I guess, at that point.
Mhm.
And I didn't learn to lift weights till like, I mean, I say like 2007 is probably when I started learning how to lift weights. But I got taught how to lift weights by Justice Payne, who was like he was like a big time wrestler in the Jersey area back in that time. But
Mhm.
he's since passed. But he was the one who taught me how to lift weights when I was young.
And what inspired you to like want to wrestle? Was it watching it on TV, or was it like at school, your friends or parents or something like that?
The time when I decided that I wanted to get into the wrestling business was like what wrestling fans will call the Attitude Era. So
Mhm.
that was when Stone Cold Steve Austin was huge, and D-Generation X and
Mhm.
NWO, and
Mhm.
and all it was like the hottest period in time to be a professional wrestling
Oh
fan.
yeah.
So I just wanted to be a part of it, and what it was when I was a kid, it helped me like escape some of the stuff that maybe wasn't my favorite. Like I was bullied, and I didn't have any friends, and financially we were struggling. My mom, poor single mother with 4 kids. I I'm it just helped me escape a lot of things and helped me learn a lot of stuff about myself. So I just figured I'd want to continue being a part of that
Yeah.
instead of just being a fan on the sidelines and watching it.
No, definitely. Like, and yeah, that takes, man, that takes something to like. Anyone could say like, oh yeah, I could do that, or I'll do. But you actually like straight up went and did it. You got your hands dirty, and
I,
man,
I'm
that's
still I'm still doing it.
yeah.
I've not stopped. I'm currently the DCW No Limit champion. I
Oh yeah.
have the belt right here. I can show it to you.
Oh, fancy.
DCW No Limit champion. Uh, yeah, man. I'm defending it this Saturday um, in Marydale, Delaware. DCWProWrestling.com for tickets and information.
That's
Uh,
cool. And is that on like YouTube or like Fight
it,
TV or something?
Yeah, it'll be on YouTube. DCW Overdrive TV is what it's called on
Okay.
YouTube.
No, that's
So
great. And you as far as like any sort of, and I'm not saying this like to jinx you or anything, but you haven't had any sort of injuries that like maybe gave you a scare, or I know you're getting what they call the older age of a wrestler. I don't know
yeah,
like DDP didn't fucking win his championship till he was like in his 40s, but how would you say like you are in physically right now at your age?
I'm great, man. I'm really good. I have no complaints at all. I've been very lucky and very fortunate, very blessed, I have to say, to
Hmm.
to have lasted this long without any major injuries, without ever injuring anybody else. It's just uh, there's been something on my back. There's God's got my back on that one. And I I'm I'm not I had I had to have brain surgery 11 years ago, or 12 years ago now.
Oh,
Uh,
geez.
and well, it'll be 12 years in September, but it was unrelated to
Hmm.
wrestling. And
Hmm.
I the same thing with that. Like I got to be the engine that inspires, that I wish I had when that I'll always wish I'd have.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I knew I had to get back in the ring. I stayed out of the ring for 13 months after my brain surgery, and I came right back because I gotta be inspiring. I gotta be inspiring myself.
And that brain surgery, it was not related
It
to
was not
a
related to
ring
wrestling.
injury.
No.
Was it like you felt it coming, or was it out of nowhere?
Um, so I had a series, not a series. I had one huge grand mal seizure,
Uh-huh.
uh, which I was taking a shower, and I don't want to get too far into everything, but
Mhm.
uh, I woke up in an ambulance, had a grand mal seizure. There was veins, right here up in the front of my brain that were twisted. It was a malformation of my veins in my brain here, um,
Mhm.
and it was called an AVM, an arterial venous malformation.
Wow.
So they went in and resectioned it. So they gave me what's called a craniotomy. So I don't know if you can see, probably not, but I have a scar that goes here
Mhm.
and it goes all the way across the top of my head,
Oh, wow.
and 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 I just couldn't see a story where I got that surgery and then was like, oh well, yeah, that took me out of the wrestling business. I couldn't do it anymore. I just knew I had so many more things I wanted to accomplish, so many more, fans I wanted to meet, so many more moments I wanted to create with my fans and with the wrestling fans that come out and watch. And I I thought also, I mean, I didn't have a podcast yet, but I thought maybe one day I'd have a story to tell that would inspire my nieces and nephews and the next several generations of people in my family.
Mhm. Mhm. No, that's quite a something to come back from. Jeez, like I feel like that'd be a good enough excuse to hang up your boots. I'll say
Yeah,
that. Like,
yeah. I've never been the good enough excuse guy.
yeah.
I've never been the guy with the good enough excuse.
I feel like that's a good enough excuse, but I hear what you're saying. Uh, so have you ever like tried out for like the NWA or the WWE or the AEW? Have you ever gotten the opportunity maybe to do a dark match or anything like
I
that through there?
I did some extra dates for the WWE back in 2009,
Hmm.
and I've never done another thing for them, and they've never called me again. And I never tried again really super hard because I know it's like WWE is not looking for a 39-year-old brain surgery survivor uh, I, to be on their full time roster.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, I hear
I
what
don't.
you're saying.
I So I mean, while I'd like to wrestle full time and be on TV every week, uh, I don't think anyone would want to take a chance on me. I don't know anybody. Well, I don't want to say I don't want to say I don't know anybody at AEW, but like I'm not friends with the right people
Yeah.
that could put me in the right direction with that sort of
Hmm.
thing. And I think that it seems very like who you know when it comes
Oh
to
yeah.
that company, at least.
Yeah. Oh, it's with everything. It's all politics and yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I was just wondering if like they ever came to the hometown and you were like
Oh
in a
yeah.
match or something
uh,
like that. Like, oh hey, cool.
I'm always up for it. I I reach out to AEW pretty often, but I don't get any response. Uh, the I've never talked about this, but a couple months ago, maybe a year ago, I
Hmm.
I I was uh, regularly reaching out to get media passes because I'm a podcaster. So I wanted to show up as press as a podcaster, and like at least get my foot in the door that way, for them
Hmm.
to have to see me. But they've turned me down every single time I've submitted.
And I hear that because I know they kind of have their select press from what
Well,
I've like pieced
well, I
together. You know.
I think it also has to do with the fact that maybe like I don't have a built-in like huge following, huge audience. I I'm I'm I am I'm gonna carry this little drum. I'm the littlest drum beat. You know what I mean? Like I'm not somebody who like they're automatically looking at and going like, yeah, money. We could bring him in. He gets that gives us a billion downloads. Blah blah blah. Like I'm not offering that. I don't bring that to the table as of current. You know, but marketability wise, on every other aspect, you can nail every single one of those things. But if you don't have a social media following, it's pretty much your wrestling career and acting career didn't exist.
Yeah, no, I hear you. And then also, you could even have all of that, and politics would still, keep you from getting in there. It's who you know. I
Yeah,
know exactly that. That's with any. I feel like any profession nowadays. It's who you know, and what you're willing to say. And I don't know. I don't know what your opinions are on like the current state of wrestling because I watch AEW,
oh yeah.
some of the WWE I watch, and it's very like you said, growing up with the Attitude Era, and then now we're in this era. It's kind of like it's strange wrestling, like you know what I mean, like
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because
yeah.
I feel the same way, and I summed it up in this thought saying, remember watching it as a kid? You'd watch it and you'd be like, every one of these are tough individuals. Every one of these people, they could beat up my dad. They could beat up my uncle. Like nowadays, you watch it and you're like, none of these guys could fight me. None of
Yeah.
these guys could stand to be in the ring with me in a real shoot for any length of time. And
Uh-huh.
it's weird to think that, like, because that's just as a fan watching it.
Mhm.
And I was watching it with my friend James a couple weeks ago, and so one of the matches. I'm not going to say any of the names, but one of the matches, a bunch of real flippy, skinny, fat kids, and
Mhm.
and and I was like, you remember a time when you would watch wrestling and you'd be afraid that any one of these guys could beat you up? And he's like, yeah, any one of these guys could beat me in a fight. And I'm like,
Mhm.
we got to teach you how to fight, bro.
No, exactly. I know exactly what you mean. What are your opinions on? I don't know if you've experienced these. I hope not. But the death match and the like the backyard wrestling, which I don't mind. I actually kind of appreciate it. It's an art in itself. But the death match and how like over the top it is for I would say no reason. You know.
Um, the funny thing is, I came from an environment where that was pretty commonplace. Like
Mm-hmm.
I trained at CZW.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was around in the Zandig era of CZW when there was that whole Jesus, that whole promo.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was there when that happened. I was standing on the other side of the camera. I remember that like it was yesterday because I was only like a couple months in training at that point, and I was
Mhm.
like, "Is this guy going to teach me how to wrestle? What did I sign up for? What is going on?" I was probably 16 at the time, 16 or 17, and yeah. So deathmatch. Dude, a lot of my friends are deathmatch wrestlers. I've never been in a deathmatch. That's not really a scratch. It's not really an itch I'm looking to scratch. I don't have a desire to do that.
Mhm.
Um, I feel like it's risk versus reward. The reward is never worth whatever the risks are. Um, I think
No.
some of that stuff, some of that stuff can lend to any kind of match. I think like any of those weapons can be a huge gimmick for a match, a huge pop. The crowd goes nuts for all that stuff. Um, I just you don't know these people, and there's like all this blood, and you don't know where all this dirty stuff's been, and then
Hmm.
it's getting all in your system and in your blood. If that's what has to make me look like I'm a tough guy for you to believe that I know wrestling is real to me, I'm selling you on wrestling being real, but like I gotta put dirty light tubes all over my back and bleed all over the place, and like it's like still in your head, like it's oh, that's fake, whatever. I I just I don't really think it is for me.
Yeah, no, I
But
get what you're saying. I see some of those spots, and of course, like you have your classic table spot, and if you do it right, it gives that same emphasis of, oh man, that looked good, and it's not as much of a risk. But when I see someone like with a weed whacker, and they're literally trying to like shred a guy's stomach with the weed whacker, and it doesn't look good, but it hurts like the dickens.
dude,
What's the
that
point?
wife beater hitting Nick Mondo with the weed whacker and the 200 light tubes death match. It was like the first tournament of death. That the funny thing is that was actually supposed to be my first show. That was supposed to be my debut show, the first tournament of death. I
Uh-huh.
debuted. I debuted. That was August 31st. For some reason I'm remembering that August 31st, 2002 was the
Hmm.
first CZW tournament of death, and then I they were like, well, you're going to debut here, and then they moved that to a battle royal that they were doing like a week later, like September 7th
Hmm.
was when I debuted, but I was supposed to debut at Tournament of Death, and I'm glad I didn't.
No, and like I said, it's like there's some spots where they're more impact but less dangerous, and then
Yeah,
something like the weed
dude,
whacker where
weapons in wrestling are good, sure, yes. I think
yeah,
like you know if done right, all weapons can be good for wrestling.
yeah, yeah, you
But
got like the kendo stick that makes that nice slap noise, and it
yeah,
looks like it hurt. I'm sure it
oh,
does hurt.
it does hurt. There's
Yeah,
no looks like it hurts. It
yeah,
hurts.
yeah, it does hurt, but it's not like
I
a
got
bunch of light tubes.
ripped up scars on the back of my arms from lashings from the kendo sticks.
It's
We
not a
used to call them
it's
Singapore canes back in the day.
oh really? Hmm.
Yes, that was when remember Sandman in ECW. They called it a Singapore cane because like I guess in the news somebody got caned in Singapore for stealing something,
Hmm.
and maybe they used one of those sticks for it. I don't know.
Yeah, it's probably a little politically insensitive now, I guess, to
Yeah,
call them that. I guess
yeah,
so.
probably
Uh,
not the best to call them that.
yeah, yeah. There's a better choice of words. And I know, like, I saw your a couple episodes of your podcast evolving with Cory Kastle. So what do you get out of that? You interview different people, and do you like talk about different viewpoints, or try to convince them of something? What do you get out of
I don't know if it's necessarily an interview as much as it's just conversations. And a lot of times, especially more recently, it's just been me wanting to have fun with people and just kind
Mhm,
of like get to know each other a little bit better, and like hang out a little bit more. Um, but it's definitely like we're gonna stumble across topics that maybe you're gonna give us a perspective we didn't know we had,
mhm,
or educate us on on a thing we weren't educated on. I like I like uh, the thing with me calling it evolving with Cory Castle is not just because it's my name and it's in the title. It's because like the guy I was in the very beginning versus who I am now and who I'll continue to evolve to be is always ever evolving. So um but it's a lot of growth. There's a lot of the idea of growth. How what's your life lessons? Basically I used to really like make sure I wanted to hit these talking points every time. I wanted to ask like, oh, how'd you grow up? Did you go to church? Brothers, sisters, mom, dad, that kind of stuff. But I
Mhm.
kind of like fell off of asking that sort of stuff because then it felt too forced. It felt like I was trying too hard to get to those areas
Mhm.
instead of just letting the conversation happen. And
Mhm.
really, it made me a better podcaster, made me a more versed broadcaster to be able to sit out for a minute and let somebody finish their story, finish their thought or whatever. Um, I just want to make sure that I'm good at it. More than anything, I just want to be really good at it.
Mhm.
That's it's. I think honestly, doing that podcast, evolving with Cory Castle, available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever you download podcasts. Uh, I think it's what I was made to do. That's what I was born for. Like to really have these conversations. I mean, I honestly I give this example pretty often, but I uh I love to have these moments that I call on the record moments. Um,
Mhm.
I I had my friend Chris Cotton on the podcast, and I was just like, I want to just take this chance to just let you know on the record while we're on the record, you're a star. I think you're hilarious. You'll always be a superstar to me. Like, no matter how famous you get, you've always been famous to me. You've always been a star to me. And no, he turned back around and told me he loved me and told me I was funny. And I was like, oh man, he told me I was funny. Like had a moment in my own head. And then
Mhm.
and now he's gone. Now he's passed on. And that listening to those recordings helped me grieve through that. And his wife was 9 months pregnant when he died. So now, his daughter can listen to that one day. That fascinates me to think about like any kind of lasting legacy that you leave.
Yeah, no, of course. To know that you told the people you love that you love them, and to for that to be reciprocated back.
Right. And then
And
that's why like now I've had my brother on my podcast. I had my mom on my podcast. It's like a lot of really important conversations with people. Just because it's like we got to get this on the record, or we might lose it forever. My mom said to me early on when I started the podcast, she had just gotten made this CD that it had like voicemails that had like her mom and her friend Maria who had passed, and she was like, I saved these voicemails of Maria and my mom because you know how like she's like, you know how like when someone dies you kind of forget what their voice sounds like. I
mhm,
was like, I don't want that. I don't want that. I want you to remember me. I want you to
mhm.
be able to listen back in this evergreen evolution of me, and ever changing, ever evergreen. This stuff's gonna stay here as long as the internet exists. You're gonna be able to listen to conversations that I have, and I think it's all practice too. Like, if if I'm at a level now where like, let's be honest, nobody's really paying attention. The stakes are kind of low,
Uh-huh.
but I get good. I get good while the stakes are low, and then the stakes start raising. I know I'm already good. You know what I'm saying? Like
Mhm.
I'm more fit to serve in that role when the bigger role comes along.
Yeah, no,
I'm
you what is it? What's the rule of thumb? 10,000 hours of practice makes for
Yeah, I think so.
uh
Yeah, you're a master at 10,000
y-
hours.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah. So no, I get that. And then also the idea of whenever we do lose someone, there's always that I wish I would have told them this. I wish I
right.
wonder if they know, if they
Love to
knew.
eliminate that. Yes, I love
Yeah.
eliminating that. I
Yeah.
love uh, having it on the record where I know how you feel about me and you know how I feel about you, and now that's a timestamp. That's not going anywhere. That's a that the time capsule
mhm.
in this moment of time. And I also do a I also do a segment on my show Evolving with Cory Kastle, available on Spotify and Apple Podcasts and wherever you find podcasts, where I go I call it audio time travel. So I say, like, whoever loves you the most is stumbling across this audio 20 years from now. The people who love you the very most. Who knows if we still exist on this planet? Who knows if you and I still are living? But let's pretend right now that the next words you speak are going directly into the ears of somebody in 2043,
Mhm.
and they want to hear like a good timestamp and good takeaways for helping them grow and inspiring them. What is this version of you telling them? Even if it's you who listens to this in 20 years.
Yeah, yeah. No, I hear you. And I don't know. I don't know. 20 years from now, I feel like I would just want people to know every day is like a new day, and to try, even if you have a bad day, there's always tomorrow. You know,
Mhm.
that's the way I see it. Like, we're allowed to have our bad days, and it's like that's fine. We'll take a nap and we'll try again tomorrow, and maybe it'll
Well,
be different. You know.
we gotta take a mulligan on this one.
Yeah, that's
Did,
sometimes
did,
you got to for
did you,
yourself. You know.
did you ever see the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt on Netflix?
I know of it, but I've never seen it.
She was trapped in a bunker. Somebody convinced her that it was the end of the world, and
Hmm.
they told her she had to she had to wind this crank this thing for however long, like to generate power for this whole house that they were in.
Hmm.
And, and she's like, as long as I can get through the next 10 seconds, I'll be fine. And then she went, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. As long as I can get through the next 10 seconds, I'll be fine. One, two. So she all every it was just just the headlights showing you the 200 feet in front of you.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Sometimes we gotta take the world baby steps like that.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
No, and last question, Corey, what do you prefer to be, a heel or a baby face? When in your career, what's your favorite? The heel or the baby face?
A heel, dude. A heel's my favorite for sure.
Mhm.
It's so hard to make people like you, but it's so easy to make them dislike you.
Especially
So
wrestling fans. Yeah, I hear you. But
and,
there's fun. There's fun to it though.
and wrestling's the only place where somebody can boo you and not hurt your feelings. Like wrestlers can get booed and go, yeah, that's what I got paid to do. That's why I
Mhm.
got paid to show up.
Mhm.
But like if you go see an artist and then you go boo them when they're singing a song, they're like, that was my art and my heart and my vulnerability all on my sleeve, and you booed it.
Well, in wrestling, you're paying to go boo at that person. You know what I mean? Like
Sure, yeah.
if you're going to see a musician or something, it'd be silly to. You're
So
paying to go and talk bad about it. Ooh, boo! I hate this
there's
song.
little opera binoculars. Boo!
Yeah.
This opera sucks.
I paid $80 to come see it, but boo, it's terrible. No, and I've always thought, like, as far as heels go, like, just like in Batman, the villain makes the hero. You know,
Mhm.
like
Yeah.
there's some villains that are more memorable than the hero. So
Oh yeah.
that
Yeah.
it's always great to have it's just as hard to be a good heel and memorable as it is the baby face.
Well, if 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 you beat a nobody, who are you? So if I act like I'm this, you know, this heel, this bad guy, whatever, and I make everybody there hate me, and then you beat me, you're way more over than if you had
Hmm.
just beat somebody who came out there and didn't know how to
Hmm.
get any kind of reaction from any of the people.
Oh yeah, you're a hero for that moment.
It's a little strange now, having been around for so long, and everybody in the wrestling community and fans and stuff all knowing who I am from all these years of me doing it. Uh, to be a heel anywhere now, it's
Hmm.
it's kind of difficult. It's not too difficult. I still do it when I have to, but it's pretty weird. It's a
Yeah,
weird line to be on right now.
yeah, I hear you. It's strange with social media and all that. It's hard to and the
I would
curtain pulled
boo the
back.
shit out of me. I would boo me so hard. I would boo, dude. I've been trying to say this on stage recently. I want to be like, okay, I get it. Like, I I'd hate me too. Look at me and go, oh, it's this man bun guy, stupid beard shit. Oh, come and talk about your muscles, and uh, we're gonna laugh at fake Aquaman over here trying to be funny.
No, I mean, if sometimes you embrace it. If like you
Mhm.
can't win over the crowd as the
Mhm.
baby face, it's like, all right, well then I'll
Yeah,
like lead into this and I'll
I get
make
it.
you hate
I'd
me.
boo me. Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
boo me. I'd hate the crap out of me.
Well,
Jealousy will make you do something. Jealousy's a hell of a drug.
oh yeah, no, it keeps me going. Well, Corey, no, I want to thank you for coming on today, man. I really appreciate your time.
Yeah, man.
I know you're evolving. With Cory Kastle is available Spotify, Apple, anywhere you listen to your podcasts. Was there
Yeah.
anything else you wanted to plug, push
Uh,
messages?
my DMs are wide open, honestly. Anybody who ever wants to reach out to me, if you ever feel like you're alone and don't have anybody to talk to, and you feel like you don't have a friend in the world, and you want some judgment free conversation, as long as like you come at me and you don't, and I see that you're not like a bot person and you're real and you're genuine, I'm absolutely going to have a conversation with you. That's like some of my some of my best uh, fans have become my best friends.
Hmm.
So like really honestly, don't ever feel like you're hassling me if you're going to reach out to me. I mean, unless you are hassling me. If you feel like you're hassling me because you constantly write me, then you're probably hassling me.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
but but what I always want to say to anybody who's ever listening to anything I'm doing, the fact that it takes an amount of effort to seek out and consume this content. The fact that you've spent the currency of your effort and your attention on listening to anything I've had to say or watch anything that I've ever done. So much gratitude to you. So much gratitude to you. I would invite anybody, if they've got uh, any kind of value or any kind of benefit out of anything they've ever heard me say, to I want to encourage you to just stay tuned. Follow me on Instagram. Keep on checking my stories. Keep on checking my reels. Keep on checking out my podcast. I want to grow too. All I want to do is grow. All I want to do is get better. All I want to do is be better. All I want to do is help people. All I want to do is make sure everybody else feels like they belong in some place in their life. I want everybody to feel like somebody like I've got somebody who cares about me. I got
Hmm.
some I got I got a voice that people want to listen to, or I got a song that people want to hear, or something.
Yeah, I
I,
hear you. People, they're worth it. You want to give them that value that they are worth it no matter
Mhm.
what, and that's uh high praise. No, I that's hard for me to do. I'm not much with the humans, but
Well,
I
I mean, dude, it's not easy. It isn't easy at all. But
mhm.
anything that's easy usually sucks. Stuff that's rewarding comes after a lot of hard work, a lot of struggling. Like, it's so cliche to say like you can't appreciate the sunshine without all that rain, but you really can't.
Mhm,
You really need this struggle to to outweigh like how good you might feel later.
mhm.
So
No,
if it stinks now, it's gonna feel good in the same amount later. Just wait, just wait, it'll get there.
no pain, no gain. Yeah, no, I've heard that. But yeah, no, thank you so much for coming on today. Everyone check out Evolving with Cory Kastle, available anywhere you listen to your podcast. Check him out on Twitter and Instagram, and there's his link tree there at the bottom, link tree/Cory Kastle. But yeah, man, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks so much for the currency of your effort and your attention, and man, I appreciate the love and the support, and I look forward to us doing more stuff. This is still just the very beginning.
No, yeah, of
Let's
course.
get
No,
to
that'd be great. Thanks everyone for listening. Take care.